I'm designing a paper airplane, there's two things that I take into consideration. One is the minimum weight to drag ratio that you'd need for flight, and the other one is the 22.5 structure, which is a fractal within origami, if you know anything about that. I'm going to show you the very basic information right now. So it's a very simple experiment. You can do it anywhere. First thing you want to do is take a piece of paper and divide it into fourths. Alright, so you have 4 equal divisions. So what you want to do now, for the purposes of designing an airplane, you want to worry about how many layers, when you're designing an airplane, how many layers it has. So what we're going to do here, so you got 1, 2, 3. 3 layers of paper opposed to 1. So you can kind of just bend that, you know, and let it glide, and it'll glide. That is the minimum required weight to drag ratio. So basically, from a design perspective, what you want to think about is how many layers a certain part of the plane has in order to figure out if it's acting as weight or drag. Alright, so what this is telling us right now is that if there's 3 layers of paper, that's going to be weight. So if you have 3 layers of paper in the back of an airplane, it's going to act as weight and it's not going to fly. But if you have 1 to 2 layers of paper, you can it'll act as drag. So if you notice, a lot of my fighter jets have 2 layers of paper in the back, the trailing edges, like the tail fins and everything else. So that's acting as drag. You know, there's some of my missiles that have 2 layers of paper in the front and the canard wings, which is actually why they kind of pull up. That's acting as drag. So without them knowing it, these supposed paper airplane experts, without them seeing this video first, if you ask them that, they wouldn't know what you're talking about. Most of these guys, they just take a piece of paper, fold it up, and if it flies, it flies. If it don't, it don't. You know, and they like to supplement their lack of ability with tape. Okay, if you're an origami artist, you are not going to use tape under any circumstances. It doesn't matter if you're going to break a record or not. Origami artists will not use tape. Period. Okay? That's papercraft. When you put tape on something, that's considered papercraft. That's not origami. That's not necessary. So, what you can do, you can take a piece of paper, which I'm going to show you here in a little bit, and you can fold it in half, and you can have 2 layers in the trailing edges. If you have an airplane that has 1 layer in the back, you can fold the paper up to where there's 2 layers in the back, and you can use that excess layers in the middle to fold the locking mechanism. It's pretty simple. So that's why I don't like using tape. There's no need for it. Absolutely no need for it. And another thing I'm going to touch on real quick, I'm not going to get too in detail because this is more of an advanced concept, but is the 22.5 structure within origami. So basically, you just fold along the diagonal, and you'll see me use this a lot. If you pay attention to my models, you'll see me use this in my more advanced models constantly. So you can basically almost spiral this around all the way down to infinity. And what this does, there's certain intersections that you could use that all connect with each other if you want to do the geometry. I'm not going to get too much into that. So if you fold this down like that, just like my missile, you fold, fold it in half, and then you can kind of move around, and this little squash fold eventually will come out to where it comes to a point right there, because it's on a fractal. It's a spiral fractal, and it perpetuates throughout the whole square. And just so you know, and a sheet of A4 paper is very close. It's very close to that. So that's why you see me using that structure a lot, because it's a fractal and it relates to itself quite a bit. And you can fold that without having to do a bunch of math. If you want all your edges to be lined up, or not asymmetrical and they're not all off. So I generally fold along that, and that's how I create guide points a lot. And the 22.5 structure always usually makes good airplanes, because it has that angle. So as you can see there, it usually works out to where it's a good proportion. So let's get back into the topic. So you can take a model, if it has like one layer in the back and you can't figure out how to put a locking mechanism on it, what you can do is you can fold like that. So there's two layers right there, and like I said, you can kind of just do whatever, fold it up, and then you have these tabs here in the middle, and you can roll them together, and it creates a locking mechanism quite easily. And usually the airplane will retain all of its flight properties. So without further ado, let's continue on to the next part of the video. So knowing this, you can take an existing aircraft and improve upon it. Alright, here it is. Most of you should recognize this airplane. It's Suzanne. But it's been so heavily modified and altered that you really can't call it Suzanne anymore. So I'm going to call it Jezebel. I don't know why someone would name a airplane Suzanne, but anyways, I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about this. Now look at the way it's designed. Okay, there's no tape. Okay, and it holds itself together perfectly fine. Everything is smooth. See that? Everything's nice and smooth. And you can throw this thing as hard as you possibly can, and it's not going to fall apart. It's not going to spin to the ground. This is made from A4 paper, 100 GSM. I've verified that 100%. I didn't just find some paper laying around and assume that it was 100 GSM because it was A4. I weighed the paper. So if you're going to do that and you find some paper laying around, you might want to weigh it first to make sure that it's actually 100 GSM. Now I've spent a lot of time with this plane, and I've got it out to about 215 feet. In the video I got it 190, but that depends on how hot it is and the humidity and everything else. And in the video it was 50 degrees. It was pretty humid. It was a low pressure system. It wasn't great for flying. It'll go pretty far, but it's not gonna beat the Black Knight, not by a long shot. And now I've tested the other Suzanne with the A4 paper, taped it 14 times, and it doesn't. I never got over 100 feet. Whenever I try to even give it a little bit of a hard throw, it will spin out and it'll crash to the ground. As an airplane designer, I do not see how that thing went 226 feet from A4 100 GSM paper. I don't see it. It's not happening. I've been out in California, and I want to say that the airplanes are much more floaty out there, but even still, that throw that it was given, it should have crashed to the ground. I don't think that paper was 100 GSM. I think it was a little bit heavier than that. And I don't know why there's no video of them weighing the airplane to make sure that it was the proper weight. I have no clue. But had the plane been designed like this, and this isn't a difficult step. This isn't difficult to fold or design. Had it been folded like this, it probably would have broken Stephen Krieger's record, you know, and I would have had no problems with it whatsoever. None, because it's origami. If you want to say you study origami, you shouldn't be running around and using tape. If you actually knew anything about origami, you would have this. Now, I folded this from A4, but it's also possible to fold this plane from a square sheet of paper. Now, that's one thing. You know, going out there and saying that you broke the record when you had someone else do it for you, you know, that's screwed up. That's not right. That's why I got involved with this whole thing in the first place, because I want to bury that. I want to eliminate that. Now, if you want to say that you're better than me, or I'm crazy, or I'm arrogant, you might want to take another look in the mirror, and you might want to buy some of my books, and you can just tell at first glance that I'm not crazy or arrogant. Okay, you can't say that you're better than me when you cannot fold my airplanes. You can't tell me about airplane design when you lack the ability to even fold my airplanes. Okay, I don't know what you're thinking by telling me something like that. And this right here, this proves that I made a better version of your crappy airplane. So if anyone takes this plane and breaks the record with it, I want you to know that, you know, when you have more than one person, that's a team. That's a team effort. So there should be a separate category for an individual or team. So if you take this plane, which I improved upon, and break the record, it's going to be a team effort. All right? That's the way it should be. I don't know why Guinness did that, and I don't know why Guinness allows tape in the first place. I mean, traditionally, paper planes were, you know, the kind of in the papercraft category, but times have changed. Okay, so right now, had it not been for that, it would be me that has the record. It wouldn't be anyone else. It would be me. So anyways, let's take a look at what she can do. So what you want to do is just this A4. I just found a camouflage design I liked and printed it out. That's it. That's all I do. That's how I get these camouflage pieces of paper. Not hard. So just fold it in half. I'm going to fold this angle in the thirds. So that was just an inside reverse fold, pretty much. Flatten everything out, so there's a lot of tension. It's really thick. I'm gonna put some force onto it on these creases. I'm gonna fold a little way from the top here because you don't want it to be too thick. Right there. And flatten that out because it wants to bubble up. So what you want to do here, and there's a little edge underneath, you're going to fold that. You want to fold it slightly beyond the keel, and you're going to fold this wingtip to that corner there. So it should look something like this. Look like that. So, kind of want to see this angle right here. I'm going to fold a little bit away from there at a third. I use thirds a lot when I'm reinforcing the wing structures or adding weight, like I did right here, or locking mechanisms. It just kind of works out. There it is. Okay, you do want to kind of have these wings bent a little bit. Kind of want to bend starting back from here and going forward. It'll help out a little bit. Whenever you're flying it, you're trying to balance it, I would use this back edge instead of trying to balance it by folding these up. You're going to need a little bit of lift depending on how hard to throw it. But for if it's going left or right, you want to use this side. And I don't recommend you like take it and bend it. You basically just want to rub your finger like that, right across the back edge. That's it. That's all you got to do. Same thing with the ailerons. That's it. And you want to, of course, you want to give it, bend the wings up a little bit. That's all this is. You know, just bending the wings up. You don't have to add some unnecessarily complicated term that makes it sound more complicated than what it really is. You're just bending the wings up. Okay, positive dihedral. That's someone trying to make it sound like they know more than what they really do. They're trying to make themselves sound all fancy when they're just bending the wings up. Okay, don't buy into that crap. And that only works with this specific airplane. It's not going to work with every airplane. Okay? Typically that it really decreases performance and it's going to make your airplane spin all over the place. You know, it's not that great. Alrighty, so this is pretty tough. Pretty rugged little airplane here. Now that's folded properly and designed properly. You can throw it around all day long if you want to, but it's designed to be really tough, and it's designed to actually go outside and fly in the wind, where airplanes are supposed to be flown at, not indoors. Not everybody has hundreds of dollars to rent out a big aircraft hangar just to fly an airplane. Alright, so I hope you all enjoy.